When you have violent crime all over this city at levels that nobody's ever seen before, where you have businesses leaving, and businesses are leaving because of this, because heads of businesses say, man, we don't want to get involved with that. I could go through the books of any business person in this city, and I could find things that, in theory, I guess, let's indict him, let's destroy his life.
And we have more. We have... Let's see.
We're going to be appealing this scam. We're going to be appealing it on many different things. He wouldn't allow us to have witnesses. He wouldn't allow us to talk. He wouldn't allow us to do anything. The judge was a tyrant. And you got to see that with Bob Costello. A fine man. I've never seen anything like it, and neither has anybody that was in that courthouse, where he demanded that the courthouse be cleared. Now, the good news is most of the people in the courthouse were the media. And anybody that was in the media, if you're fair, you'll say, wow, that was anger. That was crazed. He was crazed. And the reason that Bob...
All right, that's another piece from Trump. And then let's hear old Joe Biden. Isn't that funny? He is pulling all the strings. Everybody knows that his number 3 at the Justice Department, 2 heartbeats away from being the Attorney General of the United States of America, Matthew Colangelo, stood to the left of Alvin Bragg at the press conference last night or yesterday, because he left the Justice Department and was the lead prosecutor in this. The third highest person in Biden's Justice Department. He left for a local job. All of this, just like the other DAs, Big Fannie Willis from Atlanta, from Fulton County, she met with the White House. They all met with the White House. This is all pulled and orchestrated by a man who cannot beat President Trump without cheating. And it's clear. And that's okay. As Trump said, I love what he said last night. He said, that's okay. And he really meant it. And so today he had that speech, 33 minutes. I listened to almost all of it, and I loved it, and I loved his handling of it. He was calm. He was poised. I also love how people that really tell the truth, that are not huge Trump fans at all, conservative stalwarts that are not Trump fans and never have been, but are Trump fans when it comes to voting for him over any Democrat, and people like my friend Eric Erickson, who Rush Limbaugh quoted for years. Eric and I are friends. He used to fill in for me. Now he does his own show, and he's even syndicated. Eric's column today talked about this and said that this is going to, and he's got that nerd wonky analysis that Rush, for example, quoted him all the time because of that. And his instincts, his information, his data, and his opinions are good, even though there's about a quarter of everything he says I don't agree with, and that's fine, though. My point being is he said that this is going to be a boon to Trump, and he's the last person that will say that if it's not true. And he's those people that read the tea leaves. I'm not those people. That's not me. But we need those folks, and the ones that we trust. And the other thing is the Daily Mail Online did a poll today, a snap poll. First one after the Trump conviction. Do you think Donald J. Trump went up today or down or stayed the same in the polls after the conviction yesterday? What do you think? Daily Mail Online poll says he went up 6 points after the conviction. 6 points. And the question is it going to grow? I think, and I hope it will, but you never know. And the other question is it going to hold and stay? We have 5.5 months, 5 months left to the election. I can't believe we're saying that. It's that close. So the other thing is Joe Biden's mocking that he's pulling the string. That he's not pulling the strings, but I think he is, and I think we all know that. And the one of the I think it was a top Clinton guy, Mark Penn. He came out and said, this is on Fox News on the top of the fold for them. Last time I checked when I was preparing the show this afternoon. And let me make sure I get this right. But Mark Penn, the former Clinton pollster, said that this is absolutely going to end up landing Trump in jail. Now, is that true? I don't know. Nobody knows. But that's what he said. He said his conviction could actually is going to result in jail time. Quote, judge aiming to take Trump out of the presidential race likely to issue jail time. So that's it. That's possible. Do you know that he could put our president in jail? Our former president and next president, hopefully. Also, there's a lengthy piece, but I'll share the highlights with you in a minute on how Trump's conviction could cost him the election, which I'll get into in a little bit. But a couple of questions I want to have for you as we've all been processing this, listening to the reaction, listening to the left absolutely mocking our president. Here we go.
Day, and we are.
Hold on.
It's a majestic day, and we are rightly saying the system worked like clockwork.
This is a moment of sort of democratic reset, small d democratic reset for us as a country.
His whole dream was to be respected in Manhattan, and it was in Manhattan where he was brought low. I think there's something interesting and poetic about that.
It was very satisfying to finally see this guy get some comeuppance.
I was at Costco buying, 10 boxes of Keurig coffee, and my watch started to buzz, and I got so excited I started leaking a little bit.
I felt like America won.
Yep.
I felt like New York won. I felt like the Manhattan DA's office won. I felt like I won.
All right, so that's their celebratory. You'll hear some more in a minute. And I want to ask you a few questions about all this as you and I are processing this. Do you think Trump is going to end up going to jail? Do you actually think Donald J. Trump is going to end up going to jail? And if not, what will happen to him? What do you actually think will happen to him? Also, do you think this bounce in polling for Trump of 6%, do you think that's accurate? And if it is or isn't, the other question is, do you think it'll increase more or will it go down? And then do you think people are going to end up choosing their pocketbooks? Is it possible that the people of this country may actually prefer to continue to suffer? Do you know that inflation overall, since Joe Biden took office, total inflation overall on everything we consume, groceries, gas, electricity, all that, has gone up 19% since Joe Biden took office. 19%. You and I are getting a 20% tax on everything we consume, which is thousands, and that's over $10,000, $10 to $15 or $20,000, depending on your consummation every year. That's a tax on you from Joe Biden. So, do you actually think people will end up choosing their pocketbooks over Trump's conviction, warts and all, over Joe Biden? I can't fathom anybody who would vote for more of this and more of the wars and everything, but those are the big questions I have for you right now at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you think Trump's going to end up going to jail? If not, what will happen to him? What do you think Judge Merchan will do at sentencing in a few months? And do you think this is going to bounce, this current bounce in polls for Trump after his conviction? Do you think that's accurate? And do you think it'll increase more or go down? Which it could. You don't know how the actual middle of the road people are going to be. We know how they should be, but we don't know if they're going to do that. And do you think people are going to end up choosing their pocketbooks over Trump's conviction, warts and all, over Biden? All of Trump's warts plus the conviction? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I think Trump is not going to go to jail. I will be shocked and disgusted and angered beyond what happened last night. It's unthinkable to me. And I'm not even talking about the logistics of putting a president behind bars. I'm talking about jailing him for this bogus joke of a charge. And as far as the bounce in polling, I believe it. I think it's real, but I don't know if it's going to last. I sure hope so. And I like that my buddy Eric Erickson says he thinks it's going to. That makes me feel good, since he's one of those pollster nerd people. And then do you think people are going to end up choosing their pocketbooks over Trump's conviction, warts and all, over Biden? I would like to think so. I would you know what I told a friend of mine? My tree trimmer guy today. He's a good friend of mine, a sweet guy. He's probably listening now. I told him, I think we're going to, if they want this garbage, I wanted to say the other word, but I can't do that. If they want this garbage running their country, they want more inflation, more wars, more instability in the world and less energy for their cars and more expensive energy prices. If they want to pay another 20% more on top of what they're doing right now, they'll vote for Biden. And if they are such mindless, hateful fools as to vote for Biden over Trump because of this bogus conviction and because he's irascible and he annoys you and he's kind of rude or mean or whatever, then our country's fallen. I mean, the people of this country are literally, and I even told my buddy, I said the country is pretty much, this is what the country wants, which is horrible, disaster, and that's what they want. And at that point, it's just the beginning of the end. Now, it might be 50 years from now, but I mean, could be 20. We're not infallible. And if people like stupid, useless sheep want to hurt themselves and destroy themselves because of some kind of an anger over some man named Trump, then we're gonna be going off a cliff eventually, and we're going in the wrong direction. It's the beginning of the end of this country. I hope that's not the case. If that is, we, meaning all of us, are too far gone to move forward in the right way. I mean, I don't know what else can get people to wake up. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Sarita in Argyle. She has a very definite opinion on what will happen to Trump, jail or not. All that's coming up next, and so much more coming up on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP. 3 lines open at 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Chime in right now. Sarita and then Eddie in Weatherford. You guys are up next on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. You're going to hear more of the media mocking us, and more from Biden and his response in his speech today going after Trump next.
He is now a convicted felon.
People really have to say to themselves, am I going to vote for a convicted felon?
In the most simplistic way, from here on in, the other side has the ability to take the great brander and brand him in the most simplistic term, convicted felon. And that's powerful.
I'm going to say something you've never, ever heard me say before, but Donald John Trump.
Don't choke.
Is a convicted felon.
No, honey. He's a convicted felon. That means he's a felon who's been put in a convicted oven for a few minutes. All right, yeah. Anyway, there they are dancing on Trump's grave, celebrating somebody being sentenced. Let's go to your call. The questions I'm asking, do you think Trump's going to end up going to jail? If not, what will Judge Merchan, do you think, sentence him to in 2-3 months in this bogus, pathetic, angry, sick trial? And do you think this bounce in polling for Trump, 6 points today, according to Daily Mail, is accurate? And will it increase more or go down? And do you think people will end up choosing their pocketbooks over Trump's conviction, warts and all, over Joe Biden? Sarita, we have 3 lines open, by the way. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Sarita in Argyle, somebody who I recall is a great caller, in my opinion. Sarita, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, Chris. Thank you so much. You're a great host.
Thank you. I know. I'm just kidding. I was trying to be funny, but I'm like, that didn't come across very good. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, it's okay to be confident.
All right. Thanks.
He will not go to jail. I think he may get sentenced to jail, but I think the Supreme Court will step in and not allow that to happen. We look like fools on the world stage, and it is not okay.
If the Supreme Court steps in, it'll be to hear the case. As far as a potential dismissal for the violation of his constitutional rights, or as a civilian, as a person, but also it could be, or as a citizen, but it also could be for immunity, for presidential immunity, because this alleged activity happened after he was elected. Here's the other thing. This is why it's such a joke. How could he have rigged an election, which is literally what they say the charge is, even though it doesn't appear anywhere in any of the charging documents, the charging statements, anything.
Right.
And they said it was a conspiracy to overturn the election by rigging the Stormy Daniels garbage. How did that happen if the payment and everything was signed on these in 2017, which after he was the president already that year?
I totally agree with you.
How did he
It
rig an
doesn't make any
election
sense.
the election was in 2016 and the documents and the NDA were finished off in 2017? How does that? That makes no sense. This is a joke. Everybody knows
It is a joke.
So you don't think he's going to jail? You think they're going to Supreme Court's going to step in? I think he won't sentence him to jail because, and I hope the Supreme Court steps in. I was listening to the great one. You big dummy! Mr. Vanessa! I was listening to him last night on Fox News on Hannity, who I have another impersonation for him. Sean Hannity, on the program. Sean had him on, and he was on fire. Levin, he only had 3-4 minutes, but he said every single area pound, and he said as far as the Supreme Court, immediately go to the Supreme Court, but he said don't disregard the state appeals process. He's an appellate lawyer and a Supreme Court lawyer is where he is his chops. And so for 30 or 40 years. So I think he's right. So he's saying do every venue legally, but we don't play hardball. Our attorneys are afraid to get involved in these things. He says you need to get your dang knuckles bloody and get in there. Not physically, but court-wise. I appreciate your call. Eddie in Weatherford, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP, Chris Crock Show.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome, Eddie.
I think they will sentence Mr. Trump to some time in jail. Now, I do believe that it will be overturned.
Not until after he's in jail. Well, actually, he cannot go to jail that I'm aware. Well, actually, he could, but usually they'll delay the jail. But you go ahead. You think he's going to jail, and then it'll be overturned. Go ahead.
Well, I think they'll convict him to go to jail. Now, I don't know if he'll go to jail.
Let me tell you why I don't think he will. He's a first-time offender. He has no convictions on his record. It's white-collar crime. Those reasons alone. Now, he also could because it's like we have to shame this man and destroy him and get him in prison in case they overturn it. And he knows it's going to be overturned. I got to roll. You got 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Yes, sir. But look at the judge you had in the court.
That's why he's going to jail, you think? That judge is the worst judge possible. You're right. That judge somehow got Alan Weisselberg, Trump's CEO, who's a lawyer or whatever, something like that, or CFO. He's in jail at 77. He did nothing wrong. And then he also that judge he's acting. He's not even a sitting judge. He also somehow got Steve Bannon and also somehow got this trial. They've made themselves a total running joke. It's a disgusting thing. I got to roll. Thank you. All right, coming up next, we'll talk to Lee in Bradford. I have much more audio. Joe Biden's speech afterwards reacting, and we have much more on this coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3 800-288 WBAP.
Is chosen the same way every jury in America is chosen. It was a process that Donald Trump's attorney was part of. The jury heard 5 weeks of evidence, 5 weeks. And after careful deliberation, the jury reached a unanimous verdict. They found Donald Trump guilty on all 34 felony counts. Now he'll be given the opportunity, as he should, to appeal that decision just like everyone else has that opportunity. That's how the American system of justice works. And it's reckless, it's dangerous, it's irresponsible for anyone to say this was rigged just because they don't like the verdict. Our justice system has endured for nearly 250 years, and it literally is the cornerstone of America, our justice system. The justice system should be respected, and we should never allow anyone to tear it down. It's as simple as that. That's America. That's who we are, and that's who we'll always be, God willing.
America, who we are, is the president's losing his butt, getting his butt whooped by the former president. And so even before any of this happens, he decides to issue mandates from all of his acolytes in criminal justice system all over the country. And like the Wicked Witch of the West summoning the monkeys to come out of the sky and fly and go after their enemy, Joe Biden says sends his federal prosecutor, what's his name, to go after Trump, Jack Smith. And then he coordinates with local district attorneys in multiple districts and sends his third in charge at Justice Department to lead the prosecution. Alvin Bragg says, I'm going to be a star. They're going to rave about me and hump my leg. Today, I saw fake news MSNBC literally saying how he's a brilliant genius and he was raved about at Harvard. Now you see that kid from Harvard about Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg doesn't prosecute murder, violent felons, beating the hell out of women, but he does prosecute Trump on a case that's never been prosecuted ever before in the history of this country, and never will be again unless Republicans do it to a Democrat or a Democrat chooses to re-weaponize the government like this. This is horrible. And it's starting a new trend, possibly, with Republicans starting to do the same thing, possibly. And we don't want this. This is a very bad place. They're literally destroying this country because they want to win this election, and they can't right now. So my questions are, do you think Trump's going to end up going to jail? One of the folks that worked with Bill Clinton, here it is, Mark Penn. He thinks that there's likely to issue jail time. And this is Clinton advisor Mark Penn. And he said to Neil Cavuto, Juan Merchan will sentence Trump to jail time, some of it because he's trying to take him out of the presidential race. Wow. Wait a minute, he's being truthful? So far, this judge has wanted to take, obviously, wants Donald Trump out of the presidency. For all this talk that, of course, he's a first-time offender and not eligible, he's convicted of things that could send you to jail for 137 years. I think this judge is going to sentence him to some jail time because he's trying to take him out of the presidential race. A top Clinton aide said that? Honestly, that shocked the crap out of me. Should he sentence him to jail? Penn says he believes the move will lead to another record fundraising day for Trump. Did I tell you? I didn't tell you this yet. Do you know how much Trump raised in 24 hours after this conviction? Take a guess. Take a guess, producer Garrett. No, he says 300,000. 39 million in 24 hours. That's more than $1 million per hour. And that's incredible, isn't it? $39 million in 24 hours. That's why they crashed the site. Did you hear the site crash yesterday? And it was because too many people were logging on, giving too much. I'm going to say this again. Donald Trump pulled in $39 million in 24 hours. That's incredible. That's approaching $2 million an hour, actually. That's amazing. All right, so that's huge. Now, last but not least, before we go to Lee and Bradford and your call as well at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Do you think Trump's going to end up going to jail? And if not, what will happen to him? And do you think this bounce in polling for Trump, the Daily Mail poll, snap poll overnight, he says he went up 6% after getting convicted. Do you think this poll, bouncing up poll, is accurate? Do you think it'll increase more or go down eventually? And do you think people are going to end up choosing their pocketbooks over Trump's conviction and all of his warts over Joe Biden? 800, that's a big one. I'd love to hear from you. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. To finish off Mark Penn, and then we'll go to Lee. He wants him in jail to take him out of the race. He believes, Mark Penn believes, giving Trump a fine or community service isn't going to do that. If he does that, I suppose Trump will have another record-winning fundraising day. And then he said Trump is going to receive, he expects Trump to receive an incredible reception at that convention, unlike anything he's ever gotten before. And see, what did I tell you? I said to you last night, I said, this is going to be like, he's going to have a screaming. This is going to be like the Dallas Cowboys, which never win the Super Bowl since, the 90s? Like 30 years ago? It's like the Dallas Cowboys winning a Super Bowl at the AT&T stadium. And the roar that we would hear in that stadium for how long? Just take a guess, Garrett. You're a big sports guy. How long do you think, if we won the Super Bowl and we're at AT&T Center, how long would the yell and the screams, and they would be deafening, right? How long would it go for? 10, 15 minutes? 10 minutes, which is like, it's unbelievable. You would just literally, I would just literally have to stop and just listen and absorb. It's like at church sometimes, at my church home, First Dallas, the choir is so unbelievable that I stop singing. I just sit there and I go like, holy gosh, it sounds unbelievable. Like that. I think you just sit there and you'd be like, this is history. Look at this. I think that's how it's going to be. And I think it'll be even longer. Lee in Bradford, you're on 820 AM and now on FM at 93.3. Hey, Lee.
How are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm great. I think the judge will sentence him to jail.
I can't believe this. I mean, you're saying it. Others are saying it. I can't believe what he would do.
If for no other reason to see the confrontation between the bailiff and his security.
You mean, wait, what security? Because his security is not him. It's the Secret Service.
Secret Service, yes.
Well, that would be a federal entity against a local entity. That's incredible.
Right. And the photo op there, or...
But Trump wouldn't be bad out of that. It wouldn't be Trump's fault if that happens.
No.
So,
okay. They will benefit from the photo op.
Who's they? The Democrats?
The Democrats.
Okay.
Yes. Or to actually have the bailiffs carry him back, and the photo op with him being the door being shut on the jail. Either one of those. It doesn't last very long. I don't think it'll. But it's all for the photo op. And the benefit that the Democrats will get from that.
Or a photo op of him being cuffed.
Yes.
Which would be more explosive in terms of igniting a firestorm of support for Trump? Would it be something like you're mentioning, which is possible? I hate to say it. If that happens, do you believe it'll ignite a firestorm for Trump much, much more than Biden supporters, for Trump supporters? Or do you think it'll ignite the Biden supporters more? Because I would think that this judge would realize he would be giving another $50 million haul in 24 hours, $40 million haul. If there's a picture, is that going to give more? Because let me tell you what I heard in the elevator today. I mean, I got I'm listening to Fox News all day, all night when I'm doing in between shows, especially now with this insane thing that's happened. Okay, and I'm going up in the elevator, and I'm hearing this, and I'm thinking, and I heard I can't remember who it was, but it's this made. When people are voting, here's what I meant to say. When voters are mad, they do something. They're motivated by anger about something. When they are happy, they're less motivated to go and act. And so what that does is, so the reason why Biden got, I'm not saying he got 81 million votes, but the reason why he got so many votes is because people hated Trump so much and they were angry about him so much and the COVID stuff, that they wanted to go make him pay. They were angered at him. And in this case, the amount of people that would be angry against Biden's side and this judge would be motivated to go out and vote a lot more than people that were cheering it. Don't you agree?
Yes, I agree, but unfortunately...
So you think Judge Merchan, he's not a stupid guy. He's corrupt and he's a crook, but he's not stupid. Do you think Judge is going to make a bonanza for Trump by doing this? He knows it'll probably get him into the White House.
I think he's been told to get the photo op.
Now, I do believe, I know Big Fanny down in Georgia, she coordinated with them, met with them and everything, and they're telling her what to do so she can be a darling and a star for her party, and she already is for what she's done, and then brag too. And I do think, though, and Merchan, I think they're going to do whatever they want him to. His daughter makes millions off of Joe Biden right now, doing pimping for him. He, of course, gave to a Stop Trump group and did donate to Biden, and his wife worked for Letitia James, the leftist Trump-hating attorney general in New York. So they would all benefit personally from this and from their status in their Democrat communities. Right. Yeah. Right. Okay, but I think they would be smart enough to know they'd be literally hurting Biden's chances of winning more.
I think they'll do anything to get the photo op.
But they're not stupid. They know this is going to help Trump if they do that. You know that, right?
Some of them.
You don't think this guy's stupid, do you? He's corrupt, but he's not stupid, is he?
The judge is going to do whatever he's told to do, in my opinion.
So you're saying Biden and his bravado and his staff and their stupidity are going to do this because of their arrogance and their leftists?
Yes. I think they are behind, and they have told him to get the photo up.
If that's true, and if that's the case, then it will be a blind hatred of Trump by these people that leads them to do something they think is going to go well because their hubris that's going to pull off bad. It's already having a deleterious effect to them.
I hope you're right that it backfires on them, but
I mean, wouldn't you agree it's backfiring so far?
So far, yes.
The left and all these people the left and these people that I'm playing. I want you to say what you had to say, but let me finish. The left and the people that I'm playing, these people are orgasming today and all day, and they're going to be doing it for all weekend long until next week sometime when they just keep saying it gets old to say the same thing. They're orgasming now. But I don't think they are understanding what's been happening in the past 24 to 48 hours in the regular world that's not celebrating.
Unfortunately, the American public has a very short attention span, and they can do the photo op, and it will carry on. And why or what went behind it, I don't know that they'll pay attention to.
You might be right. There was a sweet lady at the hotel I'm staying at here downtown, since I still have no power literally as of right now. And she was caught up in the storm halfway to the hotel that morning, and she's a mom and stuff. And I was telling her about this thing and how bad it is without preaching at her. You know, I get a feeling if she was would be a little offended, I would have stopped because I don't want to bother people that are disagreeing with us. But we talked for a long time. It was really nice, actually. But she said, well, Biden, the one thing about him, she goes, he did cancel his student loans, and I have tons of student loans. And then I explained to her why in a very gentle, sweet way about, the guy I pointed to a guy over there who's cleaning up the buffet, taking it down. I said, he didn't go to college. He's paying for your loan. I said, the mechanic who's working on your car didn't go to college, and he didn't get a loan paid off for his tools, and the HVAC guy and so on. And the guy dishwasher in the back there, he's paying for your loan. And I said, where's the money coming from? It's coming from us, and it's inflation, which causes heart. So but I don't think she notices it enough, and I think you might be right.
Yep. He just got it. She just got it taken off of her back and put onto theirs.
Yeah. No, onto ours, yours and mine. And theirs, yeah, all of ours. Thank you, brother.
All right.
Great take. Thank you. It's a little depressing, and Lee's not unnecessarily off here at all. I'm just saying when, we could be lost in our bubble too. We have to be very careful about that. All right, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Do you think Trump's going to end up going to jail? And if not, what do you think will happen to him with this judge in sentencing in a few months? Do you think this bounce for polling for Trump is accurate? He got 6 points as of right now, according to the Daily Mail. He went up overnight. And then will it increase more, do you think, or go down? And do you think the people will end up choosing their pocketbooks over Trump's conviction, warts and all, over Biden? That lady I was talking to, a real sweet lady, but I don't think she fully understood how bad the economy was under this guy and what was going on. And I explained to her that our insurance went up 22% right now since last year, that the cost of all things inflation went up, everything, 19% for everything overall since Joe Biden. Yeah, you gotta go. You're right. I'm running late. I'm going on. So we're going to pause. When we come back next is part 2 of this whole Trump stuff. Devilish grin from Joe Biden. Did you see that devilish grin? It's really scary looking. It's like the guy, and he paused and he looked and he had this big, huge grin about Trump's future when he was asked about it. And he didn't say anything. He just stared, and then he turned and walked away like a creepy old man. It's really scary and weird. You can see the picture, a screen grab of it, and the video of it on my Twitter feed. at Chris Crock Show. We'll talk about that devilish grin from Biden. Soros Jr. urging Democrats to hammer Trump as a convicted felon at every chance you can to say it. He says repetition is the key to a successful message. We're going to talk all about that coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, part 2 of Trump conviction. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. Coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, a second new Trump post-conviction commercial. Are we deluding ourselves? Is it possible that we really don't understand that Trump is going to just go down from here eventually because of this conviction, that it really will work? Is that going to happen? If so, how disgusting and horrible is it that a trial can be rigged, knowing it'll be overturned in January, but just put together by all sorts of pieces of glue and paste and taping it together, knowing it'll crumble in 6 months, but it'll win the election? Could it really be? You can call in on that. I want to hear from you on that coming up next. Plus, you'll hear about the devilish grin from Joe Biden after the media asked him directly about Trump, saying he's a political prisoner. You'll hear about George Soros Jr. telling Democrats at every chance they get to call Trump a convicted felon, brand him like that. And we got so much more on how do you think Biden came across in his response to the Trump conviction in his speech. All that's coming up next on the Chris Crock Show. 4 lines open, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.